Let's do this.
It's time for Hanging with Langan.
I like that she's got a big dirty mouth that gets her in trouble.
Wow.
Stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time.
Hey, you guys, you're hanging with Langan. How are you tonight? I have such a treat coming up for you in a minute. Truly one of my favorite comics. And I'm telling you, when you watch comedy time and time again, you know, you're like, all right, see that coming. Okay. And you study the comics. You're like, wow, that's really good. Oh, I like how that was chiseled and sculpted. This guy, I can't even think of the bits because I'm laughing. So that's a really good deal to say something like that. That's the ultimate compliment from me to another comedian. His name is Jim David. He will be here shortly. He's going to talk about his album, CDs, album recordings. I don't know what they call them anymore. Anyway, it's called Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers. And it's hysterical. It went #1 on the iTunes chart, comedy album. That's pretty cool. So if you're watching this now, this is what Langan asks of you. Share this. It's so easy. You just hit the share button on your computer on that where you're watching this. You can be watching it on my Facebook page or Hanging with Langan group page. Just share it. That's how we build the numbers. And also, too, this way people will get to know Jim. It's a real, I bring you good people here. I don't waste your time. So check that out. You do that. Do what I tell you. And I am watching you guys now to make sure we're all connected here. I got to see your beautiful faces. Please stand by. It's weird being your own one-man band. That's what we are here. All right. So before I bring on Jim, I got to ask you something. Somebody sent me a mannequin. There's no note. I tried to call the company, but it's one of those companies that really doesn't exist. There's no phone number. They say, email us at yougotastrangemannequin.com, that kind of thing. So this is what I got a mannequin. I swear to God, look at this. Somebody sent me a friggin', did you send that? Who sent this? And she has a thinner gut than me, and I don't like that. Who sent this friggin' mannequin? Who sent this mannequin? I emailed the company. Nobody's getting back to me. So look, shameless plugging of my T-shirts. Don't make me hate you. MaureenLangan.com. All right. So hi, Charlotte. Great. Okay. So you guys are watching, yeah? You're sharing? Yes? All right. So here we go. I'm going to bring on my guest. He is the gifted, the talented Mr. Comedian Jim David. Woo!
Hi, Maureen.
Did you send me the mannequin?
Who said? How did they know your address to send you the mannequin?
That's stalkerish.
That's creepy. How would they know?
Totally creepy.
Well, let me tell you something. Here's how they would know. I tweeted years ago. I tweeted an insult at a famous conservative pundit, and she retweeted me. She retweeted me to her followers, and then I got maybe 500 hate tweets from her followers, and one of them had my name, my address, and my phone number.
How?
I don't know. And it said, "Go get him." So that moment, I had to change my phone number because I already started getting calls, right?
Yeah.
I must have gotten like 10 phone calls before I realized I got to change this number. So I did it, and then I had to print out the tweet and take it to the police and report it to Twitter and all of that stuff. Who knows what is out there? So
did they put your address too, Jim?
They had my correct address and phone number, my zip code, and everything.
Was it Dan Coulter?
It was it was Dana Lash of the NRA. And I can't stand that woman. And I tweeted at her because she came out with a book which showed a picture of her in a tight red dress. She's an attractive lady. And it showed a picture of her in a tight red dress holding up an AR-15, which was the gun that was used in Sandy Hook. And I tweeted out, unfortunately, the gun has not blown off her face. That's a dark humor, but it's very dark. But she said that I'm calling for violence and I'm calling for her murder and all that nonsense. And so that's how I learned don't mess around on Twitter.
Oh, I'm telling you, I have never gotten on board the Twitter train because everybody just comes at it. I'm like, whoa, wow.
Oh, everybody goes nuclear.
It's so insane. But what I love about you, and I'm not full of crap. I tell the truth. I have always had great respect for you and your comedy.
You've supported me just as long as anybody.
Oh,
you were in the audience at my Comedy Central special taping.
I
Remember
didn't even
that?
know you, and I was like intimidated by you, and I wanted to come up and say I was really good because I was fairly, Anyway, I was.
Yeah.
Yes, and you were always so gracious, which makes me happy.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, we need all the fans we can get because, in quarantine, like how many of them called up during the last year to say, hi, how you doing? Not many.
Well, somebody sent me a mannequin, so I don't know who I got a mannequin.
It's just so insane.
Well, congratulations on your album, your comedy album, #1 on iTunes, Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers.
That's the biggest surprise of my entire career, Maureen.
Really?
That's the biggest surprise of my entire career. I mean, I've had a lot of wonderful things happen. I was in a starring role in a Broadway musical. I was performed at Radio City, and I've performed on stages with thousands of people. I've had all these wonderful things happen. But when I woke up, this is 5 days after I had reconstructive foot surgery. So I am lying on the couch with my foot elevated in the air on a special pillow that I bought.
Sure, needs special.
And I'm high on oxycodone.
Oh no.
As a painkiller. So I don't know what day it is and what's coming or going. Then all of a sudden my album is released on Friday, and then my producer calls me on Saturday and says, "We're #1 on iTunes." And I went, "What?" And he said, "Last night we debuted at number 46. Then we quickly went to #5, and now we're #1." And it stayed #1 for the week.
Well,
I could not believe it. My little album that I recorded on a ship last March.
Well, we're going to play some clips of that, and I'm going to have you set that up. But if you're watching this now, you must share. Just share. Just hit the share button on Facebook. Share this if you're watching on YouTube. Of course, I'm going to upload this to all the major audio platforms and my video platform, Patreon, so you can see all this. But share it now because I'm going to start playing some of Jim's clips, and we're going to talk about this recording he did during the pandemic on a cruise ship. And the material is everything I'm told you're not supposed to do on a cruise line, which is why I freaking love it. So do it now. Don't make me hate you. Don't make me hate you, MaureenLangan.com. All right, so I'm going to have you set up first, and I'll go into your first joke. But tell us when you did this recording.
The last cruise that I did last year was a transatlantic cruise from Florida to Spain. It was started March the 1st. And it was a 9-day cruise when you couldn't get off the ship for 6 days until we got to Malaga, Spain. But I mean, there were a bunch of people canceled, but there were still 4,100 passengers on the ship. And I did 2 shows every night, and I recorded all my sets. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had no intention of recording an album, certainly. But when I got home, I flew home on Friday the 13th of March. And of course, on March the 11th was when Trump pulled the European travel ban out of his ass without telling Europe. Remember that? He spoke from the Oval Office and said that nobody could fly home from Europe. Well, every passenger on that ship, they all had extended European vacations planned, right? And so they were all having a fit. And so this one man came up to me on the last night and he said, "You're the comedian, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Why don't you do a routine about that stupid motherfucker who spent $5,000 to get home early?" And I said, "Who?" And he said, "Me." So everybody had to spend a fortune to get home on
because
time.
They wouldn't have been able to get home.
They were afraid. Yeah.
So here you are. My last gig was March 12th, 2020. Live gig on stage. Last one on stage was March 12th in front of a bunch of seniors.
Yeah, well, that was the case with this cruise. March the 12th, it was over.
And I had, it was a bunch of like 2,000 seniors are there, and I'm like, oh my God, are we going to still do this show? They're the most vulnerable group. All right, I'll take the money, and good luck to you, Mildred. But the thing is, what I got to tell you, I want to set up your opening bit for your album, Jim. I've not done cruises. I did do the Circle Line once and smuggled in some champagne. But the thing is, I've not done cruises because it always seems like I don't want to do that. How can I be everything to the grandmothers, the kids? I'm going to juggle. I'm going to have 5 hours of different material. I can't say anything edgy. And then I listen to you and I think, oh, I believe I could do cruises.
Sure you could.
Oh,
Sure
I believe.
They let you get away with pretty much anything in an adult show. Now, when you're doing a welcome aboard show or a headlining show, they want you to keep it pretty G-rated. Maybe PG, but that's it. Because there's kids in the audience.
So do
right?
you have two vastly different sets, or do you?
Uh-huh.
How do you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not that different. I mean, you don't in a G-rated show. It's really quite easy. You just don't curse, and you don't talk about sex, or that much politics, and you don't bring up twisted references like, I mean, I came up with this reference to old people, this audience that was so old. I said, some of those women were so old, their vaginas had signs that said whites only. I mean, that's how old they were. I came up with that on a ship.
But then when you do your material and you're doing it for the kiddies, you're not doing it for the kiddies. You're doing it really for everyone, but the kids won't get traumatized, right?
Oh no, they won't even know what I'm talking about.
So that's okay. So it's really clean for the adults. It's like doing the morning show.
It's like doing a late night spot. It's just that level of TV clean. That's it. It's really not. I mean, see, one of the reasons I decided to actually release this album that was blatantly recorded on a ship is that it was almost my revenge to other comedians who say, well, I don't want to work on ships, that you can't do anything. And I'm like, excuse me, yes, you can. And there's no difference between performing on a ship today or doing a showroom in Las Vegas. No difference.
You inspired me, and I listened to, and I don't do we're comics, we get it. We're like, okay, I love your bit. It's really cool. Love how it was crafted, chiseled. That's we're like, wow. But I listened to yours twice because the first time you have to lower your phone or we're getting feedback. Okay. So the thing is, I listened to it once just so I know it and go, oh my God, Jim, come on. And then secondly, I was out going for a hike yesterday. I go, let me see what clips I want to pick. And I listened to it all a second time. So what I'm going to do now is play one of the clips that you open your special with. Now, you guys, what I want you to know is I was recently approached last year before the pandemic from a cruise group of people. They book cruises. And they're like, Maureen, we're going to find the right fit for you. And after listening to Jim's opening line, you're not supposed to do politics. You're not supposed to curse. This is what they tell us. But here you go. You decide.
Put your hands together for Jim Davies!
Thank you, darling. How are you, everyone? I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready to get the fuck off this ship. I'm about to lose my mind. We can't go anywhere. Oh, and you know what somebody said to me at the beginning of the week? They recognized me and they said, so are you going to be with us for the whole crossing? But you know what? You guys ought to give yourselves a hand because you're either brave or insane taking a transatlantic cruise where you can't get off the ship for 9 days during the middle of a global pandemic. Nice work. Yeah, there you go. But you know what? I do have some words of comfort from our president. And this is not a joke. This is a direct quote. Well, I don't think it's inevitable. It could be at a very small level, or it could be at a larger level. We'll see what happens. It's going to disappear one day, or maybe it won't. It's like a miracle. It will disappear. And from our shores, it could get worse before it gets better. We'll see what happens. It could maybe go away or stay. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. I just wanted you to feel better.
That's your opening bit. I can't.
Yeah, that was. So what?
What I want to know is, for those watching who don't know the comedy world, you don't do political material on cruises supposedly, and you go out right off the bat and go right after Trump, and you're in I imagine there's some Trumpsters on the cruise.
Oh, half of them.
So tell me how do you pull that off?
You just have to keep it light and funny as hell, as funny as possible, so that the funny comes before the political comment, because you're not up there to be. I mean, if you watch Bill Maher's opening monologue every week on Real Time, they're all good jokes. You know what I mean? He does have a strong political point of view, but they're all good jokes.
Yeah.
And so you just got to make sure that it's a joke. And then when I did this, when I read that Trump quote, it was a quote. It was like, you can't condemn me for trashing him by reading him verbatim. That was a quote.
There's also something you do as a comic that has to be done as a comic, is to go up there and stand your own ground without a gun, and to know confidence in yourself so that you're like, okay, whatever, this is the truth. You bring that so that you're not tepid with it. Because if you're tepid, they will chew you up and spit you out.
Correct. Well, you have to let them know right away that you've got this, that you're in control, and that the second cut on the album is, I talk about all the political correctness that we're supposed to do in comedy. Like, instead of saying fat, I have to say full figured. Instead of saying ugly, I have to say visually assaultive. It's all jokes like that. And so I almost do a disclaimer at the beginning of my set now, which is, for those of you who are offended, I don't give a shit. This is not the place for you to be, because everybody gets offended. And it used to be that conservatives would come after me, especially during the Bush years, because I came down pretty hard on George W. Bush, because, I thought the Iraq War was an illegal invasion of a foreign country. And I maintain that feeling today. But a lot of people would get very angry with me, and it was always conservatives. And now it's liberals.
That's insane.
Now it's all flipped. And it's like, that's racist, that's sexist, that's transphobic,
I tell you, Jim, I spent a lot of time in San Francisco. I did my solo show for a better part of a year out in the Bay Area, San Francisco and Berkeley. I talk about growing up the daughter of a garbage man, an immigrant from Ireland. It's funny, but it's very deep. And it goes into some stuff, child of an alcoholic who is in Crimea River. But anyway, I'm doing some deep stuff. And I say that my father growing up was a blend of Archie Bunker, Fred Sanford, Marlon Brando, the early years, not the fat years. So a woman comes up to me about my age, our age, corners me. I have to discuss something with you. I do not like the word that you used, the word fat. I used to have eating issues. I'm like, well, who didn't? Crimea, blah, blah. She's like, and my therapist told me that I should confront things that trigger me. I'm not making this up. And I said, you picked me? Really? You've been puking and binging and purging on your own for 40 years, and all of a sudden I'm the issue? Like, I would confront cookies and cake. Really, that's what I go, really? She's, well, I don't feel like you're hearing me. I go, I'm hearing you, but I can't believe that I just put my heart and soul on a stage, and now I have to deal with your issue. I can't. She's like, oh, that's very disrespectful. I go, I can't. Okay, good, but go away. The world is not going to adjust to make you okay.
No. And that's what everybody has got to learn right now. There's a lot of people who are, look, I'm sorry that she was fat. You know what I mean?
She was very skinny. I don't know. She could have always been skinny and thought she was.
Well, I'm sorry about that. But look, if I had to worry about not offending anyone,
right,
then all I could do is make jokes about the socks in the laundry. And even that would offend Chinese people.
Oh my God. I know. It's so incredible. You can't make jokes about anybody. Jim David is my guest. Jim David hits gay jokes for straight cruisers. #1 on iTunes. You guys, you got to get it. It's so delicious. It's so great because it's a
lot of fun.
It's fun because you don't give a shit if somebody's offended, and I dig it. So we're talking about political correctness. And there's other stuff I like. I want to play a clip. What cruise line were you on?
I'm not going to tell you. It doesn't have anything to do with the cruise line. They don't have anything to do with the album. And I don't want to upset them, because they may not want to be associated with the material on the album.
We're going to do that. However, there's another cruise line that you seem not to worry about mentioning.
No.
So I would like to play that. We pick our spots. This is Jim David doing his recording on a cruise line that shall not be mentioned, but another cruise line shall. Here we go.
Like, how nice are your stateroom attendants?
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir? Can I clean up your shit now? Can you imagine me if I was your stateroom attendant? What the hell is this shit? What'd you do? Shit on the floor and wipe your ass on the curtain? What do you think this is, Carnival? Oh, excuse me. It's not my fault Carnival's a floating mobile home. It is not my fault. That is a ghetto cruise line. Ghetto. Walmart on the water. That is what Carnival is.
Walmart on the water. Come on.
An audience member gave me that line.
See?
I did not make it up. An audience member gave me that line.
Well, that's nice that you're giving them street cred on that.
Oh yeah, audience members have given me lots of lines. I remember one of my earliest jokes was the only time I ever did LSD, I was at Disney World. I didn't go there; it came to me. And the way that joke came about was somehow it was one night at Dangerfields. Rest in peace. Sorry to see the old club go.
I know.
You know, it was still a fun room when it was a fun room.
Yeah.
When it wasn't, it was the worst.
Oh,
when it wasn't, it was like the worst gig in New Jersey. But, you know, and I use New Jersey because the worst comedy gigs in America are in New Jersey. I don't know why it is.
My beloved Garden State, where I grew up.
Oh my God!
Not a lot of clubs.
There was this one club that I went to. It was in Palmyra, New Jersey.
Okay, say no more. No, go ahead.
And it was near Halloween, and the audience looked like the cast of Green Acres without the charm. The MC was the owner of the club, and he came up dressed like Dracula and told all these unbelievably filthy street jokes. It was like, then the second act, the feature act, was dressed like a California raisin. And he,
Why?
Because he comes out and does nothing but 20 minutes of I Heard It Through the Grapevine, going through the audience. I heard it through the grapevine, and then going to the microphone. I heard it through the grapevine, then to the audience member. I heard it through the grapevine. You know, it's like, and so I get up and talk about white trash and homosexuals, and they're like, "The hell are you?" No, it was terrible. It was just awful.
I got to tell you,
what I was going to say. Let me finish that thought. I was at Dangerfields, and I was talking, for some reason I was riffing and talking to the audience about doing drugs, and I said to an audience member, "Have you ever done LSD?" And he said no. And then I said, the only time I ever did LSD, I was at Disney World, which is true. I did do LSD at Disney World. And he said, "Did you actually go there?" And I went, "Oh my God, that's a great idea." So I was able to write the joke based on what the audience member said.
Well, that's
I will always give credit.
When you're live on stage, that's where I can create too. I love that energy and that symbiotic.
That's why so many of us haven't written much material in the last year, because you got to do it in front of an audience. If I can write the greatest joke in the entire world at home, but if the audience doesn't laugh at it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and you'll know that by being in front of them. So that's the thing. I grew up in New Jersey. I love New Jersey. I live in Manhattan. But the thing is now, there's not been clubs there since Rascals. And so there's really unless there's a school fundraiser or you get to go to a theater and open for somebody at one of the big, Bergen Pack or Morristown Theater, there's very few places to really work. And that's unfortunate because there's can be a great audience there.
Rascals used to be a lot of fun, and
loved it.
Bananas, the only comedy club in America that would fit in the trunk of your car, because they just used a hotel conference room and they put a banana on the wall.
It's hysterical, right? I know. Have banana, will travel. My guest is Jim David. I'm going to take 1 moment commercial break, Jim. I'm going to put you in the green room. You guys, I bring you great guests like Jim David. His comedy album, #1 on iTunes, and I hope that you'll go get that and support him. He is one of the most talented comedians, in my opinion, on the planet, and it will be in your opinion too if you listen to this. Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers, #1 on iTunes. Go get it. You're going to be like, "Thank you, Maureen. I can't believe you told me to do it, and I did it, and I'm so happy." You're welcome. And I keep these shows coming to you. They're all free, but I ask, pay what you can if you can. That's what we ask here. I bring you great guests. So at paypal.me/Mo Langen, Venmo @Mo Langen. That's one way to support the show. Or you can go to my website and get a Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt, because you don't want to hate people. They make you hate them. You're a victim. Speaking of which, my Don't Make Me Hate You album will be coming out via Dry Bar at the beginning of the summer. So I want to know who sent me a mannequin. Somebody sent me a mannequin. It came in the mail. There's no card. There's no note. And the company, it's one of those companies that doesn't have a phone number or a website. You just have to email support at a company that doesn't really exist. So if you send me a mannequin, one, I think it's creepy. Two, I don't know why you have my address. And three, I'm using it for my Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirts available at maureenlangan.com. Or one other thing, one other way to support, because you always ask me, Maureen, how can I help you? Because you help me, Maureen. So it's time for me to help you. This is what you do. You go to patreon.com. Just go check it out. You'll see what it's all about. Patreon.com. It's a place where you can support artists starting at $5 a month. You'll get access to all the video casts. So those don't get uploaded as all the audio does to Apple and Spotify and iHeart. So you get that at $10. You'll get like bonus Dish the Dirt stuff behind the scenes. Maybe I'll get Jim to do some like really like a dishy thing for a few minutes and we put those up there. And at $25 at Phyllis Diller, you'll get a Don't Make Me Hate You t-shirt. So those are ways you can support, and PayPal and Venmo at Mo Langan if you are so inclined. I work like a dog for you people. And of course, just follow me. Subscribe to the show. Subscribe to on Apple and Spotify, and we grow the numbers. If you're just tuning in now, share it. I'm going to have more here with Jim David, fantastic comedian, in just a moment. So let's bring him back and keep this party going. This commercial break brought to you by Desperate Comic.
By Desperate Living.
Hey, we're doing the best we can, right, Jim?
Desperate Living is John Waters' movie. It's absolutely hilarious, but it was his movie after Female Trouble, and Female Trouble was with Divine, as a rebellious high school, rebellious high school teenager turned murderer. And when I was teaching high school drama, I told one of my 15-year-old students, I think you'd like Female Trouble. And he remembers, he's still my friend, and he remembers to this day, it's all your fault. My whole fucked up life is all your fault.
What were you teaching?
Well, I was directing plays I was directing musicals at a school on Long Island.
We have some shout outs here. Of course, our friend Michelle Ballin. She says hello to us, Nancy Lombardo. And where's our Joey Cola? Hiya, Joey.
Oh, is Joey here? Joey is one of the funniest people I have ever seen. And I've worked with Michelle often. Yeah. And she never fails to, when Michelle gets going, I had to follow Michelle at a benefit we did for Equal Rights Washington. She killed, I bombed.
Really? You bombed?
I was too political. They were too PC an audience for me. They got very offended.
Really?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Michelle is hearing the accolades, because sometimes in this business as performers, you wonder if you're being seen or people see your work or if it has any impact. So it does be, dog. So shut the F up.
It was an embarrassment. I really tanked. They just didn't like me from the very beginning. And we don't know why that happens. It was a gay audience. And I'm like, everybody's wearing a tux and everybody's saying, but I was too dirty for them. And it was probably my fault too. I don't think I read the room as well as I could have, And but it's all when you're unsure. I've learned over the years, it's always best to start conservatively, But like the way I started off the routine on the album, when I come out and the first thing I say is, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get the fuck off this ship. It was the third show of the night. It was at 10. There'd been a show at 7:30, 9:30, and 11:30. And so it was a late night crowd. Everybody's well lubricated at that point, and so they're ready to, So that was like, I don't care what happens.
Do you have to do different? I know you do a different material for Welcome Aboard, but can you do the similar sets for those other 3 shows and just be a little more cursy at the end one?
No, you can do whenever you do an adult show. It's an adult show. You do, but like say if you're doing a 7:30 show, that's usually an older crowd. Everybody looks like your parents in the audience, and so you just want to be a little more conservative with them, and then you feel them out and you see how far can I go here. That's it. But you know what I did before I had my operation. I had reconstructive foot surgery 4 weeks ago, so I'm currently getting around the house on a knee scooter, And that's the way it's going to be for the next 2 months. I've got to. That's it. But before I had my operation, which has put me down, I did spots at the Comedy Cellar and at the Comic Strip, and I had to ask the audience, are you guys going to be okay with comedy now? I mean, can we make jokes that are, that are edgy and that you're not going to get offended and get all upset, because that's the way people have gotten, they've, and I think, what? I think it's a phase.
I hope it's a phase because
I think it's going to go away.
and we're going to play another one of Jim's clips from his new album, Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers, in a minute. But, I had a couple incidents before this. I had a woman, I made an innocuous Trump joke, and she got up, F you, he's my president. And she took her table with her, and they're like, no, but we want to stay. We like her. She's like, no, she's not respecting my president. And I said, well, don't let the door hit you in the pussy on the way out. But the thing is, because they wear those T-shirts, like he can grab mine anytime. I'm like, he doesn't want
God, it's just
he doesn't want yours. He has no desire to have yours. Trust me. But you can't. So I've been coming into it kind of through a back door, saying like, I can't make Trump jokes. I can. I just want to ask simple things like, how much weight do I have to gain to go to a Trump rally? But I'm not going to ask that because I don't want to upset people. So I'm kind of coming at it that way. I'm not going to do it. I won't upset you. But you have to be able to. This is the hard thing for comedians. We want to make money. We want to make a living, right? So you get a gig and you choose. You choose what you want to do. I did Dry Bar, the Mormons. I had to work clean. They were fantastic. I could go right up to the edge with them. I was like shocked. But you pick, do I want to do that gig and do I want to work clean? Or do I want to go, hey, these are my points of view. I'm going to talk politics. I'm going to curse where I want. Okay, you can choose those things to do. But when you're famous and you have a huge following, if I'm Kathy Griffin, I can say whatever the hell I want because I have my built-in audience and they're going to come with me on the ride everywhere. But you're on a cruise ship and you're doing what you're doing and you're so respected and beloved, but still you got people from all over the world that you have to balance out.
Who have never heard of me.
And you smashed it. So I want to play another clip. Damn right I do. This is Jim David from on a cruise line, which shall not be mentioned, talking about curmudgeon-y cruisers.
This is what this guy has. Luxury problems. He wrote, the lines on the daily Sudoku are not dark enough. I have been to guest relations 3 times about this situation. See, suddenly we have a situation. The Israelis and the Palestinians, that is a situation. Okay, this complaint tells a whole story. There were a lot of girls in skimpy bikinis and my wife yelled at me. Oh, this was about me, they complained. My jaw hurt from watching the comedian hire someone less funny. You can't win with some of you motherfuckers. The ship has too many decks. Next time, build a flatter ship. Basically, they want an aircraft carrier with 5 bathrooms. People on the cruise don't look like the people in the brochure. It's true, it's true. It is. Well, if they did, no one would come. Okay, this is my favorite comment of all time. Do you have a cruise that goes to Colorado? I have friends there.
A year ago, I was mentioning the Israelis and the Palestinians, and now look.
I know.
It's just I was afraid that if I released an album that I recorded a year ago, that the material would date. God.
And you did a bit about a civil war. You did a bit about civil war in America.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, about how if there's going to be a civil war, and it's like, oh, come on, what are you going to do? Invade Cleveland? Get the hell out of here. What sides? It's just ridiculous. There's not going to be a civil war. There's going to be some people who cause a scene, and there's going to be violence, and there's going to be more crap like January 6th, unfortunately. But there's not going to be.
That was Civil War light. That was
civil unrest. That was civil war unrest. Incited by a traitor, seditious president. And so that's going to, until he's locked up. I mean, there's not going to be any sense of real justice from it. Because he needs to do some time because of that. 7 people were dead because of that thing. Now that's something I would never talk about on stage. And like you talked about how the Trump person got mad at you and left. Well, that's happened to me because of him. That also happened to me during George W. Bush. So, I mean, it even happened to me once during Obama because I made some jokes about Obama and people thought I was anti-Obama. All of a sudden, people thought I was this big conservative. And so that's the problem. Unless you are a Bill Maher or a Jon Stewart and people know that you're going to do political material that leans to the left, they're going to get mad at you. Because half the audience, I remember Jeff Foxworthy said the reason he doesn't do political material is because, you lose half your audience right there. And in fact, on my 4th album, which is called Hard to Swallow, and I think it's as good or better than Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers, if I may say. I think Hard to Swallow is in many ways my most perfect album. I think so.
I will get that because I have not gotten that.
Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers is a lot of fun, and it's very loose, and there's a lot of talking to the audience in it. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of fun, and it's lots of laughs. But as far as solid material goes, I think Hard to Swallow is the best album that I've done. And the last bit on that album is a whole bit about why I don't talk about politics, and because half the audience won't understand what the hell I'm talking about. And so when you talk politics to an audience, it's like you're explaining it to a 5-year-old. And so I proceed to explain every president since Richard Nixon up through Trump to a 5-year-old. And it's very fun. It's really a lot of fun. And it's one of those bits though. I have several of those bits. You've seen my act enough. I've got several bits that last 2 to 3 minutes. The bit itself lasts that long. So once I get started at the beginning of it, I know that I've got to commit to it and keep going and pray to God that they click into it and laugh at it, because otherwise I don't want to bail on it, because I don't want to stop it in the middle, because then it won't have an ending.
What's interesting, because you said MFR and you curse in this album a lot, but what's interesting? I don't see you as like a dirty comment.
It's casual cursing. It's
cursing light, even though
it's cursing light. It's cursing
C word, MFR, but it's like it welcomes everyone. It's so funny. You were right about this. I can't say it aloud. I can say it in private with you, or amongst comics, one-on-one or in a group. But the C word you said this on the album with the audience member. It is used, even though the guy denied it, like nothing in the UK and Ireland. It's like, and I said, I don't like being called we wouldn't call a woman that. We just mean you're a C. This person's a C. We don't mean anything by it. I'm like, okay, well. It's like.
Thank you. I was with a friend of mine who's from South London, and he talks like this. He's got a real South London accent. And we were on an elevator, and somebody had pushed all the buttons on the elevator. And he gets in there and says, "Oh, look, some cunt pushed all the buttons in the elevator." And just the way that he said it was so casual and so funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some jerk just did this, some idiot, and it's like that.
It's just, it's a lot of people really object to that word. I'm sorry. It's my favorite curse word, and I will use it.
No, apparently, no, I see that. I'm believing you. I
apologize. I apologize that you're offended.
I'm not offended. You mean if one is offended?
If one is, yes.
Yeah, I'm not. That would depend how much you use. If I was walking down the street and bumped into somebody and they called me that, we might have some issues.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, no, it's just, you're good at the accents in your album, like the Australian guy. Like you were, when you found out where people were from, just a moment, you just visited imitating them. I'm like, this is your theater background. I was impressed.
Yeah, I've done a lot of voice stuff, and I'm good with accents, and I've traveled a lot. And I remember the only time that I was in New Zealand, I really had to listen to them talk because they keep it up here. It's really, they say excellent. Excellent. New Zealand. It's like British and like Australian, but it's up here. You know, it's really cute. It's a really, really cute accent.
Would you do the Queen joke about the hat? The fox?
Well, Prince Charles showed up in New Zealand,
Yeah.
and he was wearing this big fox hat.
Mhm.
And the Prime Minister thought this was very pretentious. And the Prime Minister of New Zealand said, Your Highness, would you mind telling me, why did you come to New Zealand wearing this big fox hat? And Prince Charles said, well, before I came to New Zealand, I was speaking to Mummy, to Her Majesty, and I said, Mummy, I'm going to New Zealand. What should I wear? And she said, New Zealand? Wear the fox hat.
I love that. I love that.
Well, that's not original. Somebody told me that.
Yeah, it's a joke, but I got to
It's a joke that I heard in New Zealand.
So good.
This cab driver told us we hired a cab driver. We were in Dunedin, New Zealand, which is on one of the islands of New Zealand. New Zealand has a bunch of islands, like Hawaii. And we were in a place called Dunedin, and we hired a cab driver to just drive us around the island.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just show us your country. And she was very talkative. And once she got that I was a comedian, she started telling me local New Zealand jokes. And it was a scream.
That's a good one.
You know, it's like, why do New Zealanders have 2 beds in the bedroom? One for the couple and one for the sheep. I mean, things like that, you know. Just stupid.
That's so funny.
Stupid funny. But that's one great thing. I'm very fortunate. I've been all over the world. And I've got pictures in my living room of where I've been. And whenever I get depressed, I look at all those pictures. I've been to the Galapagos Islands, Vietnam, St. Petersburg, Russia.
I'd love to go to St. Petersburg.
Forget the politics and stay for the architecture. I'm telling you.
Oh, I would love to go there.
It is stunningly beautiful. God,
I would love to go there. You know, it's interesting because building a new website that I'm going to launch next week, you guys. I got to tell you, I'm very pleased. I've been working with some wonderful people helping me. But the thing is, I had to save all my blogs that I haven't done in a long time that were in the old site. And I'm reading through them going, I've had some really cool adventures, man. Like helping these 2 old ladies, 90 and 92, in Edinburgh across the street because the light turned 3 times and they're shuffling with their groceries and they're so old. And you ever see the signs in the UK of the 2 old people hunched over? Like they mean just, it's a crossing. Like sometimes they have kids crossing. They have 2 old, like, oh, those are the 2 it's based on. And these 2 can't get across the street. And then I befriend them and they go up a hill that's Josephine and Mary and their crooked bodies going down twisted lanes to these stairs to get to their flat. And, it's bloody hell. But, you know, we live a fine life. And I think
I've had so many fabulous things happen and out of nowhere where you don't, you know what I mean? Like this woman on one cruise. No. This was in Atlantic City. This was at a club in Atlantic City. And this woman, after the show, I'm selling CDs. I used to sell CDs when people bought them.
Oh, yeah.
Now they just download them. They don't buy them anymore. They don't buy physical CDs, which is a shame that whole industry is, you know, but progress. But this woman wheeled this young man up to me. He was in a wheelchair and he was on oxygen, and he couldn't have been more than 25 years old. And he looked like a late stage cancer patient. And it turned out that that's what he was. He was like, he had stage 4 cancer. And his mother came up and said, I want you to meet my son, Kyle. Tonight was the first time I've seen him laugh in about a year. And I what do you say? You know, I gave him my CD.
I'm like tearing up.
I gave it to him, and he shook my hand, and I took a selfie with him. He's probably not alive anymore, but just little moments like that. I mean, people come up to me. This one guy came up to me in tears after a show, and he said, "When I saw your Comedy Central special when I was 15, that's when I got the urge. That's when I got the courage to come out to my parents, because I said, if this guy can do it on national television, I can do it in my house." I didn't think. You don't realize who you're affecting. And I don't go out of my way to try to affect anybody. I just want to make them laugh. but you don't.
It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing because we remember those who are rude to us or stand up and go, he's my president, F you. But there's so many of those type of people, hopefully not with cancers, but you know what I mean? People going through things that they want to connect with us. They want to feel a part of what we're sharing up there. And
Sure.
you forget that. You forget.
That's why it's always best to keep the act as general and light as possible.
Yeah, but being yourself, which you are. And before I let you go, I do have a question about Jim's life and his gayness, but I want to give another shout out for you guys. You must get this. Go to iTunes. #1 comedy album on iTunes. Jim.
It's not currently #1, but it was for the first week of release back in April.
It's going to go back to #1. Gay jokes for straight cruisers.
Let it go back to #1 if they'll go get it.
#1 gay jokes for straight.
That was a big surprise. Yeah.
And it's a wonderful surprise. And also, if you've missed any of the shows, you can get all the video casts at patreon.com. Or if you want to see Jim, this will be uploaded soon to patreon.com, Maureen Langan. And you can see last week I interviewed the voiceover queen of America, Randy Thomas, the Oscars, 10 times, Super Bowl. I mean, this woman is incredible. She actually gives a master class. We weren't planning on it, but she does it. These are the type of things you get when you subscribe at patreon.com. I bring you great guests. Alan Zweibel, one of the original writers of Saturday Night Live. So it's really great stuff. Sandra Joseph, who played Christine in Broadway's Phantom of the Opera for 10 years. Great guest of mine. So these are the things I do for you because I'm all about love. And if you go, but Maureen, I just want to send you a lot of money. I know you can. PayPal.me/Mo Langan, Venmo @Mo Langan. Those are the ways you can support, or you can just go and buy a t-shirt. Don't make me hate you, because you don't want to hate people. They make you hate them at MaureenLangan.com. Okay, thank you. Ding, 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 commercial break over. So you were talking about the young man telling you that he saw your show and he said years ago, and he said because you were openly gay, it emboldened him to come out to his family. One of the things I see on your Facebook a lot, Jim, that really touches me, and I love it, is your relationship with your father. You've always had a good relationship with him, and I need you to talk about him because I want people to know that there's great people like that out there.
My dad's name is Charlie David. He's from Asheville, North Carolina. He's currently 93 years old. He has all of his marbles. He has, 93-year-old problems physically. But,
So do you.
Yeah. Right. I do too. Currently, I mean, he's moving around better than I am.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to use a knee stroller, but my dad is just the greatest guy in the entire world, and he's funny as hell. He spoke at when he and my mother sang at my wedding. I mean, right?
Can they sing?
Yeah, my father and my mother were in the community theater their entire lives. My father was a car dealer by profession, but for a hobby, he was a leading man in local community theater. He played King Arthur in Camelot. He played, Curly in Oklahoma, stuff like that. He did quite well. He was not a chorus member. He was a leading man.
Wow.
A local leading man. He was a real pillar of the community, and he always supported me no matter what. And our family is still hilarious. I mean, we're still, my mom's been having some problems lately and she needs to use a walker. And my dad calls me up on FaceTime today and says, well, the whole family's going to pot, but other than that, we're all fine, but like the closing joke on the album is a totally true story about my father. When I was in a hotel and I woke up in the middle of the night, and to go to the bathroom, and how you're not awake. And so, but instead of walking into the bathroom, I just walked out in the hall, and the door slammed shut behind me, and I'm naked in the hall. And so I saw this room service tray, and I grabbed one of those cloth napkins to cover myself, and I ran down to the phone, and I called security, and I said, listen, you need to come let me into room 3608. I'm naked in the hall. And security said, we know. We see you in the hallway on the TV. And anyway, they come in and let me in. Then I told my father about it, and without a beat, he said, you mean you can cover it up with just a napkin?
Quick wit. I love quick wit. To me,
he is a quick wit.
Because wit is smart and funny together.
Yes.
That's what's so perfect about it. And you, my dear, are the quickest of the wits. And Jim David's album, Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers. Get it, you guys. You won't be sorry. You'll call me. You go, Maureen, you won't call me. I don't need you to call
I
me.
want to also, can I also put in a plug for my other 4? I've got 5 CDs. I'm very proud of that. Over the last 20 years, I've released 5. The first one was my first one. It's called Eat Here and Get Gas. The second one is called Live from Jimville. The third one is called Notorious FAG. That was when I was really pushing the envelope. That one. That's a dirty one. And then the fourth one is called Hard to Swallow. And the fifth is Gay Jokes for Straight Cruisers. And hopefully in the next 5 years, I'll have another one.
Well, yeah, here we go, though. Jim, comicjimdavid.com. So you can find out all the information there at comicjimdavid.com.
Yep.
And on Instagram at comicjimdavid. There we go again. And at Twitter at actualjimdavid. So,
Yep.
it'll be posted up here, you guys. You'll see the information. And if you need it, you just reach out to me and I'll make sure you get it. But I got to just put us in this other boxes here because I have to ask, who sent me a mannequin? Who the frig sent me a mannequin? It's the creepiest thing, or I want to say
that's one of the strangest things ever. It really is. It's just a mannequin out of nowhere.
There's a box over there, BONNLO, Bonlo, because the N one N is backward. I don't know. I go, what the hell is this? No card, nothing. Little creepy, but I guess I'm going to use it to hawk my "Don't Make Me Hate You" T-shirts.
Why not? Idea.
At MaureenLangan.com. And Jim, I'm going to put you in the back room and say a real goodbye to you, but I just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, we've been doing the show. If you miss any of them, you just go to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Patreon is the best place to see the video cast. Keep supporting. Follow me at Maureen Langan, and you'll get great guests like my buddy, Jim David. It warms my heart to see when people I adore who are so talented doing well, because that's all we got to support each other. I am so proud of you. All right, my darling, I'm going to put you in the back room. And you guys, you know the routine. Until we meet again, bye, wig. Mwah.